So our next presenter, I met over 25 years ago. We were both living at the Kripalu Retreat in Summit Station, Pennsylvania. And Vidya, Carolyn DeLumo, facilitated one of the many Inner Quest intensives that I participated in back in those days. And what I remember most about her is her extraordinary clarity, her strength, and her wisdom at a very young age. And she guided me through some life-transforming experiences that have really formed the rest of my life, being a mother, being a seeker on the path, and being a woman. So I am truly, truly pleased to have Vidya with us. Later on, as she continued with her endeavors and her studies, we worked together in the 80s, and she was the director of outreach and the Kripalu International Network, which, guess what, it grew into? The Kripalu Yoga Teachers Association. So there's a wonderful kinship, the Kripalu International Network, and ties that she and I have, but all of us have, as the network and family, and as we spoke of on the opening night, the world is one family. She personally studied with Swami Kripalu, also known as Bapuji. And Vidya's love for learning and her practice of yoga and meditation deepened, and she went on to develop training programs for yoga teachers, for corporate executives, and for thousands in need of mentoring and counseling and coaching. I'm so glad that this soulful teacher answered the call, and she shares her light and love with us so generously, internationally as well. Babaji would be very proud of his student. Please join me in welcoming Vidya, Carolyn DeLumo.
I just said to Vandita, you're going to start me crying before I even start. I don't know how many of you know, but we come from a tradition of crybabies. Bapuji was very easily moved to tears. I loved that about him because it made me feel normal. Before this session began this evening, I was in my room meditating and doing pranayama, trying to get centered for this keynote. And I was remembering back to the 1970s when we started to teach yoga outside of Kripalu Ashram in Pennsylvania. And we actually went out and taught in saris. Can you imagine? And if the Patriot Act, were there then, I would have been arrested a long time ago. Really, the first program was in Nova Scotia, and I taught it in a sari. Oh boy, it's good to laugh. So we've come a long way, and I need to begin, I must begin by thanking you. I must begin by paying homage to each of you who have said yes to honoring what you've been called to do as your dharma this time around. And I truly believe that it wasn't your left brain that decided, a good way to make a living is to get a yoga certificate. You now know better than that. I truly believe it was your soul that said yes. And in saying yes, look what you got yourself into. filled with a path of unknown, and I honor you for that. I have reverence for you for that. You are fulfilling the dream that Babaji spoke 3 decades ago, that this work would expand and reach into the poorest of the poor, into the suffering of the sufferingest throughout the world. And you're doing that. Having been with him and now being with you now, is a testimony to what his sadhana stood for, and a testimony to you and your willingness to be a torchbearer on the planet right now, which is in so need of so much light. Babaji called true culture as something that protects the highest in the individual. That was his definition of true culture. Something that, a culture that protects the highest in an individual. Can you imagine if John Kerry and Bush stood and debated about how they were going to create a culture that protects the highest in an individual? And yet you're doing that, and that fills me with so much faith, because every single time you step into your classroom, you've created that culture that's protecting the highest in an individual, and that gives me so much faith. I would like to also acknowledge Shobhan for the beauty and the power of what you spoke to us this evening, Shobhan. You clearly epitomize what I'm going to be talking about this evening, which is how when we say yes to teaching yoga, we are saying yes to a soul-transforming way of life. And we're saying yes to being not just teachers of yoga, we're saying yes to being teachers of God, and I'm going to use that word God, G-O-D, God. And there, I did it. It may bring some allergic reaction. If you want, you can put after it Goddess, Spirit of Life, Yahweh, whatever, the Lord, okay? I'm going to use those words. So I'd like to ask first that you take a minute to close your eyes. Thank you. And as you do, please pause to notice the pillow on which you sit and the body in which you live. And in following your breath, notice the gender you've decided to wear in this lifetime, the name you've decided to carry and hold. Notice the constellation of friends and family members your soul has chosen to interact with this lifetime. And in the center of that, notice that you have said yes to the Dharma of being a spiritual teacher, a teacher of yoga. I would like to ask you to take a moment to reflect on the following. How many people have had something to do with your sitting here in this room tonight? Who has influenced your call to teach? And how many of them were teachers themselves? And as you're ready, please open your eyes. Perhaps your first yoga teacher just came to mind, or your fellow students in teachers training, or the friend who brought you to yoga, or the Kripalu instructors here at the center who trained you in the methodology. Now imagine if any one of those persons chose not to teach. Where would we be tonight? Where would you and I be sitting? And taking that a step further, imagine your life without the teachers that have been part of it. Taking that even a step further, imagine the world without teachers. Imagine the world without teachers. Imagine the world without a Christ, without a Buddha, without a Gandhi, without a Pema Chodron. Imagine the world without a Vandita. Imagine the world without the person in front of you, or behind you, or to the right, or to the left of you. Imagine a world without Swami Kripalu. Imagine a world without you. Where would your precious students be? The children you teach, the unwed mothers, the prison inmates, the normal middle-class people that come to your classes. Where would they be without you? You said yes. We're here tonight because each of those teachers and each of you have said yes to a call to bring the message of love and unification of body, mind, and spirit to the world, and all that comes along with that call. Your answering this call fulfills what is called in education the null curriculum, the unspoken in a classroom, in a family, or in a culture, or in a nation. Because of you, the null curriculum in our nation that has to do with respect of body, that has to do with the evolution of the soul through yoga, because of you, that null curriculum now gains visibility and believability. You have dared to say yes to being a transmitter of experiences that through the power of your word heals, transforms, and enlightens. You've said yes to a soul-evolving way of life, and I know you know what I'm talking about when I say that. A life that requires no less than having your work, like Babaji's, like Christ's, like the Buddha's, shaped by a power that runs through you, yet is greater than you. You've said yes to that. We sit here in this chapel tonight because one man said yes to that power and to that call. We sit here because Babaji said yes to his love of God and to being a seeker of God and a seeker of consciousness. The only reason we have any Kripalu methodology at all is that Babaji's love and despair, his faith and his foibles, his doubt, trust, service, and sadhana all expressed his love and his yearning for God. Out of that love came his practice. From his practice came sublime experiences of yoga. From those sublime experiences of yoga came a whole body of teachings, and from those teachings came methodology. And that methodology was later formed and framed by Amartya Sai and others to become the 3 stages that we now know. All of this because one man practiced yoga sadhana and loved God. Given this etiology, Kripalu Yoga, my friends, is not 3 stages. I might be fired. I'm going to say it again, and then I will be fired. Kripalu Yoga is not 3 stages. In its form, yes. But in its essence, no. Kripalu Yoga in its soul is the love of God, the love of the divine. This being so, you and I sit here in this room of spiritual practice and in this community of fellow seekers because Babaji loved God. The rest, all the rest, Kripalu Yoga, the 44,000 students around the world, this 3-acre big building, all the rest followed. Babaji had no business strategy. He had no marketing plan. He had no email newsletter. He had not a penny in his pocket. All he had was his love for God and his call to service. Over the course of 40 years, all the rest of this followed. There's something for us to learn and savor from that very fact. This evening, we will look at the lives of Babaji and 2 other great teachers, Dr. Martin Luther King and Mother Teresa. You will see that despite their differences in location, time, and type of service, numerous soul qualities unite them as teachers of God. And you and I along with them. Teachers of God is a phrase I've taken from the Course in Miracles Manual for Teachers, and I use it because it so befits these great teachers as well as you and I. To teach is to demonstrate, says the manual. It is but a call to witness and to attest to what you believe. This is not done by words alone, for the verbal content of your teaching is really irrelevant. It is the teaching underlying what you say that teaches. Teachers of love are teachers of God, continues the manual. And they've chosen to speak love and redeem the world. For every teacher of God, there is a course, but it varies. And for every teacher of God, there are pupils already waiting to discover you and you them. Because of this, the curriculum you teach and the relationships you form are holy, holy relationships. With this as background, I would like to invite you into a darshan with Babaji. And I'm aware that probably for many of you, you've never heard his voice. Possibly on the film The Path of Love, you've heard his voice. You're about to listen to a tape in which Babaji speaks about the null curriculum of divine protection. Now, this is a concept that's pretty contrary to our Western mode of thinking and doing and being. As you listen, please listen not only to the content, but to the teacher. Now, he's speaking in Gujarati, so you're going to have to really listen to hear this teacher. He's being translated, however, by Amrit Desai. When you listen, inquire into what are the qualities of soul with which he's teaching, qualities that you can hear even though he's speaking another language. How many of you have never heard Babaji's voice? I'm curious. Oh, many. Okay. So listen for his qualities as a teacher of God as you hear his voice. Are you ready? Thank you. You might want to close your eyes.
In life, we know and we have experienced that our parents protect us.
ઉપરથી શું એવું નથી લાગતું કે કોઈ વિશ્વપિતા હોઈ શકે?
From that, don't you really feel that there could be some father of the universe?
કારણ વિના કાર્ય થતું જ નથી.
There is no action without the reaction. There is no effect without the cause.
વિજ્ઞાનનો સિદ્ધાંત છે.
This is the principle of science.
ઈશ્વર સર્વનું કારણ છે અને આ વિશ્વ તેનું કાર્ય છે.
God is the cause and the whole universe is the effect.
તમને એમ લાગે છે કે પર્ણ પોતાનો નિર્વાહ કરી લે છે, પુષ્પ પોતાનો નિર્વાહ કરી લે છે, શાખા પોતાનો નિર્વાહ કરી લે છે?
Do you really feel that the flower is self-sustaining, or the leaf is self-sustaining, or the branch is self-sustaining?
ના ના, એવું નથી.
No, it's not so.
મૂળ જ સર્વને પોષે છે.
The roots are serving all of them.
તો આપણું મૂળ સર્વેશ્વર શ્રી હરિ છે.
So our root is Almighty God.
અને તે જ આપણું રક્ષણ કર્યા કરે છે.
And He is protecting us.
આ ભજનમાં એક ભક્તિ માર્ગના શ્રેષ્ઠ સિદ્ધાંતનું નિરૂપણ કરવામાં આવ્યું છે.
In this bhajan, one of the highest principles of bhakti is expressed and explained.
પહેલી પંક્તિ છે, વિશ્વમ ભરને સર્વની ચિંતા તું સિદ્ધની ચિંતા કરે. સર્વેશ્વર શ્રી હરિ સમસ્ત વિશ્વનું રક્ષણ કર્યા જ કરે છે.
Almighty Lord is protecting the entire universe.
તો આવી અવસ્થામાં કોઈ વ્યક્તિ પોતાની ચિંતા કરતી હોય તો